jokes really do write themselves, because 3 days ago, did I not just say this in my video? Many Americans who voted for the talking orange believe that rules for thee and not for me is how things are going to play out, and it's just not. There are many Americans who are waking up to find out that their lives are going to be impacted by this. Many of them are effing around and finding out the hard way. And now look at the Republicans, effing around and finding out.
I'm Hispanic and I vote for Mr. Trump. We vote for Mr. Trump. Yes, Mr. Trump, we love you. We love you. On the way to the White House.
Beyond betrayal. They used us. They actually, during the campaign, and I don't want to make this political, but during the campaign, the elected officials from the Republican Party, they actually told us that he was not going to touch the documented people.
So I admit, I regret my vote for Donald Trump. I regret it because I needed these changes sooner. I needed the prices to go down sooner so that I didn't drain out my bank accounts and go into crippling credit card debt.
All right, you shady motherfucker, listen up and listen good. I voted for you because of your no tax on overtime bill, amongst other things. But here's the deal. I just read your great big beautiful bill, and it's bullshit.
As easy as it would be for me to say that I wasn't thinking when I voted or that I don't watch the news, I had to ask myself the same question that hundreds of you are asking me, is why did I vote the way I did? I've spent the last few days reflecting, and I feel like I came through some sort of revelation.
You know why we voted for Donald Trump? Because the middle class man finally thought he was going to get ahead in life. You said no taxes on overtime. Big, bold, beautiful letters. We thought, hell yeah, why would we not vote for that? Then you turn around and pass the bill and it's a crock of shit. It's a tax credit for the people that make a certain amount of money. Of course, when you put it in big, bold, beautiful letters, it looks great. We're going to vote for you. And you knew what you were doing. You were baiting people in saying, no taxes on overtime. You didn't give no fucking details. Your details that we read.
All I can say, I was a dumbass, voted for Trump only because of my beliefs. People around me encouraged it. I can think for myself, yes. But I felt at the time that was a better choice. Now I'm looking at it with everything going on. It was the worst decision I ever made. I wanted not to vote.
I was a MAGA junkie.
A MAGA junkie who thought her government job would be safe with Donald Trump in office. She was wrong.
I cried. It's scary, you know, it's a really scary thing, and I was embarrassed. He's a good boy.
Piggott was abruptly fired last month from the Treasury Department's Bureau of Fiscal Service, based here in Parkersburg, West Virginia. The reason given for the firings of 125 probationary employees at the Bureau? Poor performance.
If you could say anything to President Trump now, what would you say?
I expected better from you. I really did. I expected that you would do what was right and cut waste and fraud and all of those things that you promised us before we elected you in office, but you're not doing that. You're creating a disaster, and I don't know what America's going to look like if this continues.
I know you told me you voted for President Trump. What were you hoping that he would do?
I was hoping he would did something that made sense regarding the economy, made some kind of progress in bettering, you know, the benefits of being a veteran. But I mean, it just seemed like he actually cared about doing what was best for the country. But now it just feels like all about me, Donald Trump, not, you know, the guy out there working in the trenches trying to make ends meet, trying to pay a mortgage, trying to pay the bills. You know, it goes against everything I expected when, you know, I voted for him.
I just need someone to explain something to me. I live in Alabama, and my utility bill usually averages between $200 and $250 a month. Can someone please explain to me how my utility bill went from $250 a month to $696 this month? Could someone just please explain that to me? I know it was cold last month, but $696? Explain.
Cumplieron todos los requisitos, al pie de la letra, entonces se terminó el caso, se cerró 6 meses, lo detuvieron al aeropuerto de Ley, nos mandaron a un caudillo en North Carolina por 3 días y luego lo movieron aquí a donde estamos ahora.
Le dijo que iba a ir por todos los delincuentes, que entraron ilegal.
Y ahí lo dijo muy claro.
Lo dijo bien claro.
Pero pasamos de tener una puerta abierta completamente a cerrarla con 10 cerrojos.
Es un engaño masivo lo que hizo. Es un mentiroso, está mucha gente enojada. No son inmigrantes. Gente que vive aquí, que tiene generaciones y generaciones de estar en este país.
You all asked, and here it goes. Here's my Trump hat. It's right here. It hasn't gone anywhere, and it doesn't change anything. Regardless, I am still going to enjoy my summer.
I'm just trying to trust the universe. Trust God. Trust myself.
Well, I'm trying not to laugh. This is her now.
It's been happening frequently at the 333 Miami Avenue Federal Court building. Janet Correa's husband was detained this week. According to her immigration lawyer, he has already been placed on expedite removal.
I wasn't just a Trump supporter. I was a true believer. I was one of his closest advisors. I spent Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's all at Mar-a-Lago. I saw him when the cameras were off. Behind closed doors, Trump mocks his supporters. He calls them basement dwellers. On a hospital visit one time when people were dying in the ICU, he was mad that the cameras were not watching him.
How come everybody I know of that went to college is a Biden supporter?
Yeah.
And I don't understand how everybody is a Biden supporter if you just went to college. So what are they teaching in this college? Are they teaching anything?
Stuff like inclusivity and respecting other people, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, woke.
Yeah, wokeness, yeah.
So you saw the Hispanic lady on the dais, eh? I'm Hispanic and I vote for Trump. So here is a wolf in sheep clothing. Is a wolf in sheep clothing. Another day I said, why did the forest keep shrinking? Why did the forest keep shrinking? Because the trees kept on voting for the axe. Yes, the trees kept voting for the axe. That's why the forest was shrinking. So this guy is not these policies which Trump was talking about will not impact them. Maybe I don't know. They thought that these policies would not affect them. Like let think this clearly out. For example, farmers who voted for Donald Trump. Farmers who voted for Donald Trump. These deportations was going to take away their workers. Small construction companies owners who voted for Trump. This deportation was going to take their workers away.
I'm going to say the meanest thing I could possibly say to these Trump voters posting self-pity videos because they're suffering due to his policies. Now, I don't do personal attacks, so I'm just going to tell you the truth. Sometimes the truth hurts. You don't get to complain. You definitely don't get to complain about the lack of leadership or ideas coming from Democrats because we didn't do this to us. You did this to us. If you and I are driving down the interstate together and you reach over and grab the wheel and you steer us into a 200-foot deep ravine full of lava and sharks because you think big interstate is corrupt and you thought it would be funny to shake things up, when I scream at you as lava sharks eat our legs, you don't get to be mad at me for being mad at you because it was my idea to stay on the interstate and it was your idea that ruined everything for both of us. You don't get to ask what Democrats would do differently with the economy. You don't get to ask what Democrats are doing to help us right now. Those are 2024 questions. But we're in 2025.
Trump is a cult leader, and it should be absolutely no surprise that he appeals to the more ignorant and hateful part of our country. Because people who lack critical thinking skills and who are hateful of other people are so much more easy to control. Because guess what? It is so much easier to think that the problems in our country lay within the immigrant population, lay within any of the minorities, lay within anything outside of the government itself. But he has done such a good job convincing more than half of this country, it seems, that the problem lies everywhere outside of us. That there's nothing that we're doing as a country that's incorrect and is causing the immense pain that most people are going through. But instead, he's convinced the ignorant and the hateful that, yeah, no, the immigrants are the problem. The immigrants are the reason that you can't have a good living wage. The immigrants are the reason why food prices are going up. The immigrants are why you can't get a good home for a good price. Like, how does any of this make sense? It doesn't make sense, right? And that's exactly why these people follow him. Blindly support him. Blindly follow him. Like, anytime, and I have people who I know support Trump, and every time I speak to them about, oh, look at what he did, XYZ, it's like, oh, but he wants to get the immigrants out. But he wants to make our country a better place. Show me in the last 5 months how Trump has made this country a better place. Because I can name 1 million of how he's made this country worse.
So we have been convinced that the problem we are facing as a country is caused by immigrants, not by corporate greed in this country. The problem we have is caused by immigrants. And when we deport many people, perhaps our farms will get full with workers, our construction companies will get filled with workers, and maybe that's what's happening. I don't know. Maybe you can tell me where you are from. So the problem we have in this country, Trump has forced us, can be solved through hatred. Hating the minority, hating the immigrants, that's how our problems could be solved. The increase in mortgage will be solved by deporting illegals. Increase in grocery prices will be solved by tariffs. That's what Trump has forced us to believe.
I just want you all to know I'm sorry. I'm sorry for giving him those chances. I'm sorry. I see things now. I see them clearly. And I think I saw them way too late.
Hey, Auntie Bev here. The woman you just saw in the video clip is identified as Susan Howard. She has a TikTok video, which is about 2 minutes long, and she explains how she feels she was betrayed by the president, and she wants people to show her grace for her error in judgment. Well, the vocabulary word I have for that is delude. It's a verb, and it means to deceive, to trick, to fool, to manipulate someone's judgment. Using it in a sentence, I would say, Susan Howard says the president was able to delude her into believing he was going to do what was best for the country, and that's why she continued to vote for him. And I'm saying Susan Howard was delusional. That's an adjective, and it means faulty judgment. Delude, delusional. Add those 2 words to your vocabulary bank and make it your time, your shine. Auntie Bev speaks.
Like you, I'm sure you've been seeing videos of people saying, oh snap, now that Trump's in, I didn't really realize he was going to do all of these things. He's not caring about the bird flu and making the price of eggs lower. He's doing things that are affecting me. I can no longer access my Medicaid, even though that wasn't supposed to happen. I'm still having trouble, accessing my child's account, or, FEMA's being taken away, and I was supposed to be a recipient of some FEMA help. That one particular lady goes on about the things. But I've seen other videos where people are saying specifically, this is really bad, and I regret my vote. It's easy for us who saw this coming 500 miles away to feel satisfaction, to want to gloat in the face of that. But here's the thing, we're all here. And the more we hear these people speak out, the more people we have fighting for us. And I want their fight. I don't, I'm not about, well, you voted for him, you don't have the right to fight against him now. Listen, we need all the help we can get. So if these people are seeing the light now, and if they're saying, no, I'm going to fight with you against all this stuff, yes, please. Yes, please, because we need all the help we can get. So gloat with your friends. Feel that little bit of satisfaction of I told you so. But we need to encourage these people. Thank you for having the courage to speak out now. It is too late. But now that you're here, keep speaking out, and please join us in the fight. That's the only way we're going to get through this, because we have to continue to welcome the people who are going to be suffering along with us over to the side of the fight if we're going to win the fight.
So, will these guys join us in the streets? Will they join us in those town halls, in those halls, demanding accountability from our Congress members? Will they join us? Because that's where lies the problem. Yeah, they made a mistake and they have accepted it, but are they willing to rectify it? Are they willing to make their voice heard in the midterm elections? Are they willing to make their voice heard in these public spaces? Because currently, that's what matters. Not crying here on social media. That's what matters at the moment. Because, yes, we fucked up. What are we willing to do to reverse the change? What are we willing to do? Because we want them to join us in this fight. Because numbers will mean a lot.
I've been thinking so much about the state of our country and how we come back from this, right? We see what's going on in Washington, not just with the deployment of the National Guard, but in the White House, all the executive orders and them trying to roll back all of these rights. And we will come back from that with new leadership, with time. What we will not come back from is MAGA as a cult, MAGA as a whole. These people are totally delusional and are a stain on our country. They will be forever known in history as a stain on America, just like the Yazidis were in Germany. And I think that's what hits me the hardest, is that people we know, people that we once cared about, people we were once close with, have just idolized somebody so hateful, and then in turn allowed their own hateful racism and biases to come full force out in the open with no shame, They didn't care who they hurt along the way. They didn't care if it was friends, family. They didn't care. And I don't think we ever come back from that. We will come back, politically. And you know me, if you guys know me, I think the pendulum's going to totally swing and we will get our progressive leadership that we have needed for a very long time. But what we won't come back from is the people that we once knew turning into people that we will never talk to again.
Hi guys, my name is Jenny. I am a former Christian nationalist and white supremacist. Doing videos like this is extremely hard for me. It's very uncomfortable. It shines a light on things that I wish didn't exist in my past, but I think it's important for people to know what's inside the mind of women like the person that I used to be. And this selfie right here, which I've never shared on my social medias until this week, really embodies everything about my mindset, and so I want to break it down for you. First, let me tell you how I became a white supremacist Christian nationalist. Very simply, I was born and raised. I was born into the Mormon Church, whose scriptures teach that black skin is a curse from God for the unrighteous. And from the time I was a very young girl, I was taught that the fact that I was white and of European ancestry, the quote from the Mormon scriptures is literally white and delightsome. That's in the Book of Mormon. I was taught that that was a sign that I was better than people who didn't look like me. So as I was learning to speak and to walk and learning the alphabet and how to read and write, I was also simultaneously being taught that the Lamanites, everyone brown-skinned on the American continent, was cursed from God and that I was superior to them. I was also simultaneously taught that America was a promised land that God had preserved for his most righteous and obedient children. And to me, that was members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Mormon scripture teaches that the Garden of Eden itself was on the American continent in Jackson County, Missouri, in a site called Adam-ondi-Ahman, and that Christopher Columbus was led across the ocean by the hand of God so that the righteous Europeans could repossess the American continent and restore the gospel of the Mormon Church in preparation for Jesus Christ returning to, guess where? Adam-ondi-Ahman, Jackson County, Missouri. I believed that the founding fathers were led by God and that the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Bills of Rights were all written by the hand of God himself, just like the scripture. There's a little children's song that I used to sing from the time I was 2 or 3 years old. Book of Mormon stories that my teachers tell to me are about the Lamanites in ancient history. Long ago their fathers came from far across the sea, given this land if they live righteously. And this song goes on to talk about how that those people who are given the land of America are always led here by God, and that us in our day too have been led here by God, and we will be preserved and protected as a nation and as a community of believers in Christ as long as we're righteous. And that, my friends, that is the very definition of Christian nationalism, the belief that God created America and that America will only continue to exist as long as we are a Christian nation with his mantle of protection over us. So now to this little selfie here, because this just embodies everything. First of all, I am wearing my doTERRA shirt, which that's just such a Mormon thing. The essential oils company. I was a trad wife, but I did have an essential oils business, and I just feel like it's so classic. Around my neck, you'll see a little cross necklace. Now, Mormons don't typically wear the cross, but during this time, we were living in South Carolina, and my Baptist neighbors were very judgy. They were always telling me that Mormons weren't Christians, so I wore this cross proudly, just so the Baptists would know that, yes, we are Christians. And here's the crazy part. Right next to that cross, I have a Dixie flag pen. The only way I can explain that is I was racist. I was blatantly racist. I was a white supremacist. And the fact that I was totally comfortable having that little Dixie flag pin right next to my little mini cross tells you everything about the MAGA mindset that I have. This selfie was taken on our homestead where my little 102-pound racist Christian nationalist self was raising 4 children in the gospel.
You have seen the last video, the last lady speak. She's saying that she was convinced that she is of superior genes. She's a superior human being. And as we always say, that's what this MAGA movement is all about, white supremacy. Yeah. She was programmed to believe that she was better than all other humans. And that's what Trump has convinced most Americans they are. He has convinced them that immigrants don't have a place in our society. Yeah. He has convinced us that we don't need any other country in the world. That's why he is getting enmity with Europe. He is getting enmity with other countries which are our allies. That's what he's doing. Trump has convinced his MAGA base that even, maybe to some extent, women have no rights in this society. Hate. He drives on hate. And that's what Trump has been campaigning on. It's not about making the lives of Americans better. Because when he makes the lives better, there will be no need for the MAGA movement. There will be no need because all our problems will be solved. He has no need of solving any problems. MAGA was a tool to get into power. And Trump knew the weakness. The weakness is programming people in this country to believe that they are superior to other beings. And then project yourself as the leader of the movement. Or guys, what do you think about that? So if you have a different opinion, you can make it be known in the comments. Subscribe, give us a comment, a like, and help us scatter away the darkness that is in this country. Because a little light scatters away a lot of darkness, and we are a little light.